For today's video, I'm going to be using red heart yarn, and I'm going to use brown, black, red, and white, and I'm also going to use 2 different hook sizes. And this is because for the mouthpiece, the smaller hook size that you use, the less likely you'll see the color change, but the base and the ears and everything else will be done with a 5mm. And then of course we're going to need some scissors and some tapestry needles. Before we start, I do want to talk about the mouthpiece, because this mouthpiece is completely flat and we're going to use the graphing method, which basically means we're going to follow this graph. I made this graph using the Pixel Studio app, and every square means a stitch, and obviously every row means a row. So we're going to be doing 20 stitches and 11 rows for the mouth. There's 2 ways that you can do the mouthpiece. You can do 1 set of teeth, which is you do the first 4 and then the other 7 are just red rows, or you can do what I'm going to do in this video, which is both rows of teeth. If this is a little bit too advanced for you, I do have another video in the description to do another version of the mouth, but it's not going to be flat like this one. It's going to stick out a little bit. We're going to start off by making a magic ring, and I'm going to be using a 5mm for this part. So to make a magic ring, you're going to make your hand in an L shape, and you're going to hold the yarn underneath, and you're going to make an X. Once you see the X, you're going to flip over and you're going to see 2 lines. Go underneath, grab the top yarn and twist. Now you're free to let go, and then you can chain 2, 1 and 2. I'm going to make 12 double crochets inside of this gap. So you're going to yarn over, go inside the gap, grab the yarn, pull once and then pull twice. Yarn over, go inside the gap, grab the yarn, pull once and then pull twice. I'm going to do this 10 more times and come back. Once you finish your 12 double crochets, you're going to pull off the hook, and you're going to close this off just so it doesn't open up while we're working, and then you're just going to tie it off. I like to do this as I go so I don't have to worry about it at the end, but I like to go underneath a stitch and split the yarn into 2, and then 1 strand is going to go underneath, and then the other one is going to go on top, and then you can make a couple knots and then you can just cut it off. After you've done that, we're going to start our second row. So I'm going to go into the first stitch and slip stitch and then chain 2, 1 and 2. For this row, we're going to increase in every single stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, go inside the stitch, grab the yarn, pull once and then pull twice. And since we're increasing, we're going to be adding 2 stitches in every single stitch. So I'm going to add a second one in the same spot. For this row, you're just going to put 2 double crochets in every single spot. For the third row, we're going to slip stitch again and chain 2, 1 and 2. We're going to increase every other stitch, which means we're going to make 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochets. In the first spot, I'm going to make 1 double crochet, and in the second spot, I'm going to add 2 in the same spot, 1 and 2. In the third spot, I'm going to add 1, and on the fourth spot, I'm going to add 2. And this is all you have to do for this row. For row 4, I'm going to slip stitch and chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to increase every 2 stitches. So we're going to make 1 double crochet in the first 2 and then 2 in the same spot. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and then in the third spot we're going to add 2 in the same spot, 1 and 2. The next 2 is just going to be 1 double crochet, and then in the third spot 2 double crochet. And this is the pattern for this row. Row 5, I'm going to slip stitch and chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to increase every 3 stitches. So 1 double crochet in the first 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then on the fourth stitch I'm going to add 2 in the same spot. Make 3 double crochets in the next 3, and then again 2 double crochet on the fourth spot. And this is what we're going to be following for this row. For row 6, we're going to slip stitch and chain 1 and 2, and we're going to increase every 9 stitches. So the first 9 stitches is just going to be 9 double crochets, and then on the 10th one is going to be 2 double crochets. This is the last row I'm going to be increasing. So I'm at the 10th stitch, so I'm going to add 2 double crochets in the same spot. And like I said earlier, this is my last increasing round. So after I finish this row, I'm going to come back once I have all my 12 rows done. So the first 6 are increasing, and then the last 6 are just regular rounds. I just finished my 12 rows and I also marked the width of my face and the ears. I did 10 stitches for the ears and 20 for the face. I'm going to do one of the ear flaps and then come back for the second one. I like to do one of the ear flaps first just because when I do the second one, I like to make a single crochet round to smoothen everything out. To make the ear flap, you're going to go into the next stitch of the stitch marker and you're going to put your yarn through and you're going to make 2 knots, 1 and 2. After you do that, you're going to crochet over the tail, so just put it in front of you so it's easier to see, and then you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. Then you're going to make 10 double crochets, 1. After you finish your first row of 10 double crochets, for the second one you're going to chain 2, flip your work, and you're going to make 10 double crochets. For row 3 through 6, we're going to decrease in the beginning and at the end. So for row 3, I'm going to chain 2, flip my work. I'm going to go into the first stitch and go through it once but not fully close it. Then I'm going to yarn over, go to the second stitch, go once and then twice. I'm going to make double crochets until I reach the last 2 stitches. I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to decrease one more time. I'm going to make a double crochet but not fully close it, yarn over, go to the last stitch, pull once and then pull twice. And you're going to repeat, increasing until you reach your 6th row. So again, you're going to make a double crochet but not fully close it, yarn over, start the second double crochet, pull once and then twice. I just finished my 6 rows, and for the 7th row I'm going to make 4 single crochets, and this is just going to help me round it off. So 2, 3 and 4. Now this is where I make the single crochet round, so I'm going to go into the next stitch, slip stitch and chain 1, and just start making single crochets basically everywhere I can. But if you get lost easily, I recommend adding a stitch marker in the beginning, but since I've done this a couple times, I already know where to stop. Once I finish my single crochet round, I'll come back and I'll do the braids. I just finished my single crochet round and also one of the braids. To do the braids, you're going to cut 18 strands total of 32 inches, and this is going to be enough for both sides, which just means 9 strands per side. To make the braid, I'm going to poke my crochet hook through the bottom of the triangle, and then I'm going to grab all my strands and make sure that it's all even out before you do it. That way everything matches up. You can use a bigger hook size for this because sometimes a 5mm doesn't work perfectly, so I'm just going to pull all the yarn through and make sure that everything is evened out. After you pull the yarn and everything is evened out, you're going to grab 6 strands total for each strand, so it will be 3 in the front and 3 in the back. And now I have 3 strands and every strand has 6, so I'm going to go over and under, over and under, and then over again. Once I finish, I will come back and I'll show you how to tie it off. After you're done braiding, you're going to grab your longest strand and you're going to wrap around, and then you're going to put the tail underneath and tie it. I'm going to do that one more time. It's a little bit hard because I have nails right now, but I'm just going to put the tail underneath. After you do that twice, you're going to flip it over and you're going to shove your hook underneath, and then you're going to loop it over once again. And now it's more secure, and you can leave it like this if you like, but I'm going to cut it about 1 inch. Now I'm going to switch over to my 425 hook and I'm going to make the mouthpiece. I'm going to start off by making a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 20 plus 1 for turning, so I'm going to end up making 21 chains total. 1, 2. After you have your 21 stitches, you're going to make single crochets and you're going to end up having 20. For the second row, I'm going to flip it and I'm also going to make another row of single crochets, and I'm not going to change colors just yet until the third row. For the last stitch of the second row, this is where we're going to start changing our colors, and instead of fully closing it, we're going to add our second color for our third row. Then you're going to chain 1. Flip your work and hold the tails in the back, And then in the first stitch, you're going to make a single crochet, but you're not going to fully close it just because we're going to switch colors again. So now we're going to fully close out the stitch with the next color, and you're going to make 3 white single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, but this is where we're going to switch colors again and again. And this is where we're going to switch colors again. And always remember that when you're going to switch a color, you're going to close it off with the next color. So now you're going to make 2 red single crochets while also crocheting over the tails. So 1 and 2 and switch. Now you're going to make 3 white single crochets again. 1, 2, 3, and switch. For row 4, I'm going to close it off with the red one and chain 1, and then I'm going to flip my work and also crochet over the tail. So now we're going to make 2 red single crochets, and now we're going to switch colors again. This is what it's currently look like with the 4 rows of the teeth and also the 3 rows in between. And now we're going to make the same thing we did in the bottom, but in the top reverse. So go back and refer to the graph I put earlier, and I'm going to come back once I'm done and I'm going to sew it on the hat. This is what it looks like after I'm done. You can leave it like this if you like, but I'm going to take some yarn and hide some of the red spots over here so I can make the teeth more sharp. This is kind of like what it looks like after I sharpened out the teeth, and now I'm just going to sew it to the hat. I'm going to sew this above the single crochet line, so it's going to lay about right here. I'm still using the same yarn I used for the teeth, so I'm just going to find a way that's comfortable for me, and then I'm just going to go through there. I'm making sure that this is centered and in a spot that I like, and then I'm just going to go straight in and just go in and out of every single stitch, and then I'll show you how I do it when it comes to the red part. After the bottom is done, I'm just going to go through the top and the last white piece that I have over here, and then I'm just going to go through the back here just so it's not showing through, and then just go through the back, and instead of going all the way through, you're just going to go through the loops that it's sticking out in the back. That way it's both in place and you don't have to switch the color. And then I'm just going to grab another back loop over here and make sure that it doesn't show in the front. So again, I'm just going to go back here, grab a little loop in the back, making sure that it doesn't show in the front, and then I'm just going to go straight through the bottom, and I'm going to finish this up and come back. Once you're done sewing it, since there's no other tail to attach it to, I'm just going to make a quick little knot over here, and then I'm just going to split the yarn like I always do. Make sure it's going through 2 separate stitches, because if you do it in the same one, it's not really going to do the effect. So I'm just going to go over here for this one, and then I'm just going to go through the top one over here, and then just fully tie it off. Our mouth is already done, so all that's left is the eyes, but I already pre-made them, and what I did is I did a magic ring, and then I did 8 single crochets, and then I'm just going to put it a row above the mouth, so not this one but the other one, and then I'm just going to put it in the edge, and then after I sew that together, I'm done. This is the final result, and personally I like the pink one way better than the brown one, and I can't wait for you guys to make these, and I'll see you guys next week.